Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Scenes. Over the last 24 months or so, there has been an awful lot of discussion, as many of you would have been involved in, about sustainability and environmental issues, particularly in our industry. A few years ago, KB Event became the first event haulier to receive an accreditation for environmental standards. And since then, we've been working really hard behind the scenes to try and make what we do as environmentally friendly as possible. Last year, during the pandemic, Stuart started discussions with Peak Oil, and it gives me the greatest of pleasure this morning to introduce Neil Pearson, one of the directors from Peak Oil, to talk really about their decision to go along the HVO Biofuel route, and working with us, and really where they see the future of this kind of fuel versus the ones that we're so used to seeing on the market. So good morning, Neil. Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Pleasure.
First of all, can you just give us a little bit of a background about Peak Oil and when you joined and why, really?
Yep, sure. Well, the business was started in 1972 by my father, who was a Castrol lubricant salesman in and around Manchester, Sheffield, and they wanted to promote him, move him to London. He didn't want to go, so he established his own fuel distribution business in Drumfield, North Derbyshire. So we went on from there, acquired another business in Derby, which is now our Derby depot. In '84, we had a business in Stoke-on-Trent, which has subsequently been sold, and Nottingham as well. So now we concentrate on Chesterfield and Derby. So we distribute a liquid fuel nationwide to with our partners. So if somebody needs a delivery in Edinburgh or Devon, we can facilitate that. But our core business is Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, South Yorkshire. So that's a bit of history.
In terms of the HVO biofuel, when did you start looking at introducing that, and what was the reasoning behind that for you?
It was, what is the future of our business? How can we facilitate, the electrification, which is great. Where does the power come from for the electric cars? At the moment, it's coming from various different sources. So it was, a question, what can we do with our business that is going to help our customers to achieve their goals, like yourself, environmentally, to, give yourself a big green stamp. So it was finding out what other people are doing in other countries, other continents, and turning waste products into a fuel. So one of the big ones has been this renewable diesel, which has been in Scandinavia for quite a few years now. We've been retailing it on our pump here at Chesterfield, a small retail pump, but it's been available for the last over 2 years. So we've now redeveloped our depot in Derby to facilitate the storage of the renewable fuel so that we can distribute it to customers, forward-thinking customers like yourself, and industries. We've had farmers on, we've had big steel works on, coach companies, events companies like yourself. So it really is, historically, we used to do a lot of petrol. But in the 80s, when the supermarkets came on, we don't have any retail sites anymore. So Tesco's, Sainsbury's came in, and we, if you like, exited the smaller end of the market. So then it was, what else can we do? We've got the infrastructure, we've got the trucks, we can deliver the fuel, and this was a natural way, as people don't have to change anything on their truck or their car or their taxi or their bus. They can just drop this fuel straight in and it works day one. It's seamless. So it really is a fantastic fuel.
It is absolutely amazing. I mean, I know that when we were going through the processes a few years ago at looking at alternatives, one of the big question marks for us was the truck warranty. I mean, as you understand, we don't run old trucks. We have to run new trucks because of what we do, and because of how time critical critical it is, that the trucks get to where they should be at there. And also it's a look as well. We can't be running old beaten up old trucks doing what we do, but there was always the question about honouring the warranty on the trucks by putting something in it that wasn't possibly, mainstream or recognised. So this is great now that you can just literally slot it in. Makes it a whole lot easier, really.
It does. And we've been a lot of discussions and conversations with DAF Trucks, who supply our chassis, and they've been phenomenal in their promotion of the product. So it's getting on board with the manufacturers. They've all endorsed it, and it's good. It's a good product.
Brilliant. No, that's amazing. What the HVO biofuel that you supply, there are several different types, I understand, on the market, and one of the points that Stuart's quite passionate about is this no palm oil in it.
Yep.
Is there different types of HVO?
Yeah.
And do people have to be careful when they're looking at great, about digging a little bit deeper?
Yeah, I think just two things. One or two people, they've come, or they are coming away from the term HVO. Biodiesel, we used to sell a long time ago, and that's essentially exited the market. HVO is going away as well now. Neste, which are the main manufacturers of the product, they're now calling it My Renewable Neste. So they've dropped the HVO because they can't guarantee that all the product is hydrogenated. So it's a different process. So now that it's more the renewable diesel. In America, certainly in California, it's very big. Phillips, which are a big American company who we buy from Immingham on the East Coast, they call it their renewable diesel. Valero in America call it Black Diamond. So again, and they're bringing that into South Wales, hopefully in the not too distant future. So, this product, their products are going to be available from America at some point. But it's changed from HVO, and we're still calling it HVO, but we're changing as we speak to renewable diesel, because it's coming from such various different sources. And like you're saying, with the palm oil's a no-no. So it's finding these products in Germany. I mean, a meeting last week, they're starting to turn waste plastic into diesel. So the plastic comes from crude oil. So why can't it go back to a fuel? So
and a great way to get rid of that stuff as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so big pet hate of mine is the plastic packaging, and you buy something and it comes with all this horrendous stuff. So yeah, if you can turn that waste product into a fuel, then fantastic. And then we have the facility to store that product and distribute it to a customer, be it 1,000 litres, 10,000, or full loads, 36,000 litres. So we've built ourselves the capacity to be able to do that when the plastic diesel, however it's going to be termed, comes onto the market. So it's in trial, they're testing it. How can they break the plastic down to make it a fuel? But 100%, it's definitely the way to go. How can we move away from fossil fuels and make it renewable fuels?
In terms of you were speaking earlier on about the inquiries that people have given you about this fuel. Are you seeing a greater percentage this year in terms of inquiries about it? Has it really escalated in the last few months?
The inquiries have gone up. It's the sales haven't. People are very interested. Unfortunately, it is expensive. So the inquiries are there, not necessarily the sales. So
the other questions I was going to ask you. I mean, what is, although it is a bit different at the moment, isn't it? Because the price of ordinary is shooting up. But when people are, people might view the cost as prohibitive. But what would your argument be if or what would your kind of reasoning be to try and make somebody perhaps not just put it down to price?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is expensive, but I've been running my car on it for the last over 2 years, and I have seen a better miles per gallon. It's a cleaner product, so it burns better, so you get more bang for your buck. So yes, you're paying a bit more for it, but you're using less of it. So economically there is a saving. So the differential between the two does vary, but currently, because a lot of the product is imported, we don't manufacture anything here, it is expensive. Now, if the government reduces the tax, that will be a benefit. And if we start to manufacture something in this country, again, that will save on the imports. So
that's a possibility, Neil. Do you think that they will start manufacturing here?
I hope so. Yeah, it's huge infrastructure costs that they would have to do, which would somewhere like Philips, P66 at Immingham, or it's the big boys. It's it's millions of pounds worth of investment, but I think it will happen at some point. It's their commitment to it, and it's just going forward. How can we clean the air? I mean, this stuff is reduces the NOx emissions 90%. It is phenomenal. It really is.
Do you have some numbers at hand on just the differences? Oh, sorry to put you on the spot like that, but just some comparisons that just make it really a no-brainer if somebody's working on a contract basis and they've got a client very, very similar to a lot of the people that we work for who are saying, I want to do this. Have you got some numbers there that you just can't argue with?
We've got numbers, yeah, but I'm loath to give them because they're in factory laboratory conditions. So
okay.
And we don't our trucks are not. Driver A is better driver than driver B, so he drives economically better. So yes, in laboratory conditions, it's better MPG, but driving up and down the dales of Derbyshire is different to driving in Lincolnshire.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yes, it's better. Can I prove it? Yes, with driver A and driver B in the laboratory, but very difficult, I'm afraid.
But in terms of the environmental impact, I mean, that's an absolute,
Yeah, 100%. The environmental impact, and we're reusing a waste product that would have gone to landfill or whatever it would have gone to historically. We're recycling that. So straight away for me, that's it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely, it's definitely it is just the way forward, isn't it?
Yeah, and we find it's our customers that are driving us and saying, well, what's going to be available? Okay, we can't do it now, but what are you going to be able to offer? And this is something that we can go back to them. Like I said, we used to sell petrol. We don't sell any petrol anymore. We used to sell premium paraffin in the 70s. That was, the business was built on that. We don't sell any premium paraffin anymore. So products that the business was built on in the 70s and 80s are no longer there. So what is the future? And it's, again, we distribute a liquid fuel. What's that liquid fuel? We know what it is today, but we're trying to, what's going to be tomorrow and going forward. So yeah, it's good. It's positive.
Your supply chain, Neil, I mean, you're obviously a local company to us, which is amazing for us. But in terms of, you said that you could go nationally. That what about international? What about over the water? Do you work with partners abroad? Do you?
Yeah.
If we were to say to you, we need to do this, that, and the other, can you, or we've got somebody interested in fueling up over here? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, and it's something that I've been looking at with yourselves, because some of the events that you've got going on this spring, summer, in order to facilitate your trucks being able to refuel. There are a few complications with it. Southern Europe, not so strong. They haven't even heard of it, not online with it. Northern Europe, it's better. And one or two of the fuel cards companies have got it at certain forecourts, but it is limited. So it's more a bulk delivery like you're having at KB events, as opposed to it being available at a retail site. It will come, but it's not yet.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be one of those things that we kind of talk about and take for granted, won't it, in 2 or 3 years' time? Hopefully, fingers
absolutely.
Crossed.
There's a lot of companies, that are facilitating the pay at the pump system, and I think, as I say, Northern Scandinavia, they've got it. They're better than Northern Europe, Northern Scandinavia. They're better than Southern Europe. So, I think in time it definitely will happen, because Total in France, they're adapting their refinery. So once they've done that, things will start to filter out.
And just looking into the future for you guys, I mean, it sounds like that you're very reactive and you're forward thinking. Is there a lot of discussion amongst people like you who do what you do about the fact that there is a need for change? That it's going to really be driven by what's available.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, every conversation, telephone or meeting that we have quarterly, the conversation on future fuels is discussed, and what can be available or what will be available. And sometimes what's happening in America, what's happening in Scandinavia, you're looking at what they've got options are, and can we pick that? So yeah, quite a few people have jumped onto those, but it's a constant conversation, and we'll never get to the end of it. It'll always change.
Absolutely.
So yeah, keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, completely. Well, us too. Well, it's been really interesting for me, talking to you and just finding out some of the background. And it's great to be working with you guys as a partner in terms of this supply, particularly, because we know where the stuff is coming from, and particularly with that question with palm oil. So wonderful that you're just around the corner from us.
No, and it's a thank you from me to you. KB Events, that you're forward thinking and you're trying to drive your industry greener. That's a phenomenal effort on your part. So thank you.
Well, no, bless you. But I think actually that we are very lucky that a lot of the clients that we work for, this is a demand. As I said when I opened during the COVID lockdown time, the majority of event personnel just weren't working, and there was an awful lot of not soul searching, but digging down into understanding when we came back and were live again, how we were going to do this better. The question of sustainability is huge. And so lovely for us, not only because we're passionate about this as a business and always have been, but actually to be working with customers who are equally passionate about it. Let's face it, if you from an outsider's view looking in at 30-60 trucks or so on the road trundling around Europe, PAX doesn't look like the most environmentally friendly way of doing things. Actually, the comparisons in people doing residentials and then flying the audiences in, that blows that comparison out of the water. Actually, it's better for us touring group to be out on the road than millions of people flying in. But to do that as best as we possibly can with the fuel that we get from you guys, it just allows us to be able to sleep at night and know that we're doing the best that we possibly can as a business. So
do the best we can every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was lovely to speak to you. And yes, this will be going up to coincide with World Earth Day, which is in April. So thank you.
Fantastic. All right, very nice to meet you. Thank you, Leanne. Thanks for your time.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.